Hey everyone, Amanda here. Welcome back to Handmade Not Hallmark. I'm super excited to have you guys here with me today. I want to share with you how I created these two birthday cards, so let's get into it.
Alright everyone, so the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to do our colorful rainbow card first. And these are the distress inks that I'm going to use to help color my texture paste that I'm going to be using. I've got some heavyweight 110-pound cardstock here. I had 4 cut, but I ended up only making 2 cards, but you could easily make more cards of this. It was so easy. Do a whole bunch, let them dry, and you're good to go. So I've just got my Art Impressions watercolor board here that I'm going to use to mix up my texture paste. And I'm just using some Ranger texture paste opaque matte. I really like this texture paste because you can color it, and it's a really nice thick, easy to work with texture paste. I've never had any issues with it, and I really love using it, especially like coloring it. I like using distress inks to color the actual texture paste. So now that I've got that ready to go here, I'm going to take my palette knife here and I'm going to put a couple of globs on here for each of the colors that I'm going to use. Now I had to mix up a little bit more later on just so I could get it coated. If I was going to do this card again, I would probably mix each color individually. So I had the whole board to work with. This is the first time I've done this particular technique with this many colors. So I was thinking, oh, I've got plenty of room, but I think what I would do next time is I would put the ink down, then put the texture paste down, and then mix them all up. So I'm just going to go ahead and mix all of these together. Now that we got all of our colors mixed together here, this beautiful rainbow of colors, we're going to take our card bases and we're going to take the stencil here. This is a stencil from Pretty Pink Posh, and we're going to tape the panel to the stencil. This is a really nice way to get these intricate stencils to kind of really stick, and that way you don't have any edging, so that the whole panel gets covered and you won't have to worry about covering up the edges or anything. I did cut this panel down later on, but this works out great for these kind of intricate stencils. So I'm just starting off with the red. I'm going to go through the rainbow colors, and then in between each color I am just using a baby wipe to wipe off the palette knife so I don't have to keep going back through and washing everything. So just going to go through, and I wasn't really worried about how like it looked. I wanted it to be kind of like, you know, splotchy bits and pieces. I didn't want it to be a smooth, complete coat all the way across. My yellow was a little bit paler than I like. I think I would use a different yellow color next time. Maybe a squeezed lemonade instead of this scattered straw. But next time we'll do that. I still like the way that the card turned out. And I found I needed just a little bit more yellow, so I mixed up just a little bit more very carefully so I didn't intermix the colors. And like I said, I think what I would do next time is I would mix up enough of one color, clean it all off, and then do the next color. I know it would probably be a little bit of a longer process, but I think it would just work out better. I wouldn't have to keep mixing more colors because I ended up having to mix some more green here as well. So in the end, it worked out. I got everything laid down just fine, but just to make the process a little bit easier on myself, I think I would mix up just enough colors again. But I did have a lot of fun making these cards. I really like this color combination. I like doing I don't really do a whole lot of rainbows, but recently I've been doing more and more rainbows. I mean, I did my Hello Bluebird card using rainbows. I've got this one using rainbows. I've got another idea using rainbows. So I'm super excited for these rainbow cards. They're a lot of fun. Got to get my color palette out there. I've been so preoccupied and stuck with the fall and Christmas colors that I love these other colors. I really do. I love all these other colors. It's a lot of fun working with some new colors. And I really like this blue shade. It did end up changing a little bit from the original color that I created, but I wasn't too bothered by it, and I was just trying to scrape off as much as I possibly could. And like I said, I think next time I'll definitely mix them separately. Super cute rainbow. And then I had just enough left at the bottom of the panel here for my purple shade. And you could do any kind of rainbow order that you wanted. You could do any kind of stencil using this texture paste. You could just opt out of the texture paste, or not the texture paste, the stencil altogether, and just use your palette knife and spread it across your card base. I think that would be really cool too. I just love how crisp this turned out. You can really see that stencil. It's really awesome. So I'm going to set that one off to the side, and I'm going to go wash off all of my items here. Now that we have everything cleaned off, I wanted to do a little bit more of a elegant card with this stencil. The colorful one I feel like could be for like a child or a teenager or something like that. And the second one I think could be more for an adult or, you know, anything like that. So that's why I decided to use the Nuvo Glimmer paste. This is the Moonstone Glimmer paste. This is one of my favorite glimmer pastes. When I did purchase this, I had the hardest time getting it because everybody wanted this glimmer paste. It is just so pretty and shimmery. I just love it. So all I'm going to do here is use this wider palette knife, and I'm just going to scrape on the glimmer paste. And I'm trying to not get it super thick, but I need enough on here to cover the whole thing. And I'm just kind of starting up in the top, and I'm dragging it down, making sure that it's nice and even all the way across. Now there's a couple places here and there that, you know, might be a little higher or weren't filled in quite all the way, but I was okay with that because this just, it shimmers so much, and you can see the detail in the stencil, and it turned out wonderful. I had so much fun with this glimmer paste, and I can't wait to use it again. It is so much fun. It's so shimmery. Like, my camera sometimes had a hard time with it because it was so much going on. Go all the way down to the edge of the panel here, and I just taped this on the same way I did the other one from the back side. There we go, scrape off as much as we can, kind of smooth it out so we don't have any harsh lines. Clean off my knife, cover that up so it doesn't dry out, and then we're going to peel this one off of here as well. Oh, it is so pretty. And we're going to set this one off to the side to dry and clean up all of our stuff. While those panels are drying, I'm going to go ahead and work on my sentiments. So I did a lot of pre-die cutting ahead of time just to save a little bit of time in the video. I took the Happy Birthday die from Mama Elephant, and I die cut it 3 times out of black cardstock. And I'm just going to stack them all up on top of each other 3 times to give myself a dimensional die cut. Once I had those ones all stacked up, I set them off to the side to dry, and I'm going to work on the sentiment for the other card. And I wanted to do a different color. I didn't want to do black on top of that Moonstone shimmer paste. So I decided to cut 2 white pieces using 110-pound cardstock and a glitter cardstock that I found in my stash. Now you could use any glitter cardstock that you have. I found this one in my scrap bin and I thought I could use it. So I'm just going to do the same thing, stack these all up 3 times to get a nice dimensional die cut. Set those off to the side. I'm going to work on the second part of my sentiment. I took 2 of the birthday type greetings from the Tiny Words sentiments from Simon Says, Make a Wish and Let's Celebrate, and I'm going to stamp them with my Versamark ink, and I'm going to emboss them with some Simon Antique Gold embossing powder. Once I get the embossing powder on there, I'm going to take my heat gun and I'm going to heat up this embossing powder to get it nice, smooth, and melted, and then we're going to cut out the sentiments. I'm going to take some MFT banner dies and I'm going to cut out the sentiments to go across the front of these large die cuts. And I really like the way that this looks. That Make-A-Wish I felt was a little bit too long. The flag ends were a little bit too long, so I just decided to take the same die and line it up a little bit further down on the actual piece and just cut it off a little bit more just so I had a nicer flag end. Now that our panels are nice and dry, we're going to go ahead and start assembling our cards. I wanted to trim these down a little bit so that I had a nice frame around when I put my cardstock on, and my dies wouldn't cut them out, so I had to get out my paper trimmer. This is the infamous paper trimmer that I cut my hand with last year. I apologize if my head gets in the way, but I am extremely careful with this paper trimmer. I am always very vigilant at the fact that the blade is down when I'm done using it. I keep my fingers out of the way. I try not to let anybody distract me because I don't want to go through that again. So just be very careful with your crafting tools. You don't want to end up like me and cut your fingers and then be out of the crafting vibe for a little while. So I just took a 1/4 inch off around each of these edges just so I had a nice border around each of these panels. I'm taking some black licorice cardstock and some Simon Says 110-pound cardstock for my card bases, and I'm scoring them at 5.5 so that I can have 2 top folding cards. This is my preferred way to do card bases. I really like doing top folds. I don't know why, it's just a personal preference. You can do them however you like. I just prefer doing it this way. I'm going to put my score pile away, and we're going to get assembling. And I really like that nice black frame around there. It really frames it up. Now the white, I thought about doing a gold one, but I just decided to do the kind of white on white look for this card. I felt like it was a little bit more elegant. I'm just going to take some 3M foam tape here, and I'm going to cover the entire back of these panels. Because of the embossing paste and the glimmer paste, they do kind of, I don't like to say warp, but they kind of make the paper a little uneven. So liquid glue is not really the best. I really like using foam tape for this. So I'm just going around the edges and putting a little bit through the middle here just so that it's got a nice secure hold. Press that down on my panel, and I really like that black outline. I got it a little off center, but I just went with it and kept going. Do the same for this other panel, and we'll get to adding the other elements. I wasn't sure how I wanted to add my 3-dimensional die cuts here. I thought about putting foam tape all over the back of them, but then I was like, I don't know. I don't know if I want to go through all that hassle again, so I just decided to do liquid glue. Now, this will work. You can get it to work. They'll stick down just fine. I decided to use my Tombow glue just because I think it has a little bit more of a grip than Multimedia Matte. That sounds a little weird. It's probably not accurate, but I felt like I could get a little bit more glue out on this one, and it'll dry clear so you won't see it. So I just put it on my panel, centered it up, and I pressed it down, and I put something heavy on it just to make sure that it wasn't going to go anywhere. I couldn't find anything super heavy, so I just took one of my acrylic blocks and I put the glimmer, or the container of the paste on top, and that really helped kind of hold it in place while I attached this other panel. And it worked out just fine. I haven't had any issues with them coming up or peeling or anything like that. They're holding on just great. I really love these big die cuts. They're so awesome. I'm going to take some Doris 3M foam strips, and I'm going to attach my little banners over top of these die cuts. And I'm just going to line them up so that they're right across the middle. I didn't want it to cover up too much of the happy birthday, but I wanted it to kind of, be a part of the sentiment and be a part of the greeting. So I'm going to get those lined up here. And in the light, it's kind of hard to read the sentiment because of the embossing powder, or the embossing, but I really like the gold on this card. I think it kind of rounds it. I could have done it in black, but then I felt it's a bit too much black. So, and then this is when I decided I wanted to add just a little bit more sparkle. So I got out my favorite silver stars, and I'm just going to add a few here and there. I thought about, adding some glitter to the happy birthday, and then I thought, well, maybe what if it goes to a boy and he's not really into glitter, or a teenager or something like that. So I just decided to use these silver stars, and then I ended up hitting my container and spilling them all over my workspace. I still am finding silver stars. I'm just finding them everywhere. Really excited about this recent purchase. I finally got my hands on a crystal katana to help with my sequin placement, because as you guys know, I struggle so bad with putting sequins down, and this little tool was like heaven. I had no issues. I picked them up and put them down. Like, it was the easiest thing ever, and I was thinking to myself, why didn't I get one of these things sooner? And then you just flip it around and help arrange the sequins on the glue. Like, I'm just flabbergasted. I was so thrilled about this. This is like my baby. I keep it in this little plastic case to make sure it stays nice and clean, and then it's nice and special. So I'm really thrilled about this. I just arranged the stars kind of around the happy birthday, a few on, the greeting itself, just to add some shimmer, because I've mentioned this before that I just love the way that these silver stars reflect the light. I probably went a little overboard, but I couldn't help it. These were just, they're fabulous, and I loved using this crystal katana. I kept it up. I only did it on this card in particular. I left the other one alone. I felt like there was enough going on, you know, sparkly wise. I just added the sentiment across the front there with the same Doris 3M foam strips, and that will finish up my cards for today. I want to thank you guys so much for coming by. I really appreciate all of you here, you know, helping support my channel and hanging out with me for a little while. So if you like what you saw here on the channel, go ahead and hit the like button as well as the little notification bell so you don't miss out on any more videos here at my YouTube channel. I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I'll see you again real soon. Bye! On screen, I've got a couple of videos I think that you would enjoy. If you like what you see, go ahead and hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out on any more videos here on my YouTube channel.